Cadillac, crack-a-lack, and tubes. So, check this shindig out, man. There's this person on YouTube that goes by the name of George Bruno, and I had recently unsubscribed because of a comment he made in a video. And like, I want to let it slide because there's, not a whole lot of intellectual people to watch on YouTube. So, with that being said, he makes this video called Jeff Bezos, or the Bezos divorce, paying a finder's fee for a wife. Weird news. So apparently Jeff Bezos was caught cheating on his wife, and here we go again, YouTube. Jesus fucking Christ. And this is just one more fucking rhetoric for women to say this is why all men are just pigs, because all they want is And you know what? Women cheat too. So before women go off and say, oh, here we go, another male celebrity cheating on his wife. But look how rich he is. So at some point, if she really cared about the integrity of herself as a human being, she would have divorced him a long time ago. And the only reason she stuck around with Jeff Bezos is because of the fucking money. So don't bullshit me. And now the dude's facing to lose half of his fucking fortune. Because she couldn't just vacate the premises. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? And that's just it, ladies. If he's cheating on you and the only reason you're sticking around is for the money, you're no better than he is. You may not have cheated on him, but that makes you greedy. And greed is not a good thing to have. Greed corrupts people, YouTube. Now, one of the reasons why I subscribe back to George Bruno is watching one of his videos, he mentioned he had an autistic son, which I'm like, that's kind of cool. I can relate to having Asperger's myself, so it's, funny how life works like that. But then, halfway through this little video of his, I noticed he made a couple comments. Now, yeah, definitely don't want the little ones to listen to a video like this, but I'm just saying, tubes, without being too graphic, in reference to the men are getting replaced video. I was being sarcastic to a degree. It was tongue-in-cheek, You know what I'm saying? In case people couldn't get that. But some of it wasn't tongue-in-cheek. Some of it was based off of a lot of articles that I've read. And this is like no disrespect or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be horrendously mean like I was in the response video to that wannabe redneck. But
if you are a public persona, the holy trinity of success is reading, writing, and speaking. Writing backed up by reading, and speaking backed up by writing. If that confuses you, just rewind it and listen to what I said.
That seems logical enough, YouTube. That's actually very smart. I'll grab a pinch of this cherry pipe tobacco right quick. Pack, tap, light, tap. Or is it? Yeah, pack, light, tap, light. Yeah, there we go. Pack up a little bit of this pipe tobacco. And here's the thing of it. YouTube. In life, you have options. And sometimes, when life gives you options, they may be easier. That doesn't necessarily make them better or more convenient. Yeah. I'm just saying, YouTube, you can take shortcuts in life, but that won't get you very far. No, why is it? And you can call me a sexist for what I said earlier about the Jeff Bezos divorce, but hear me out. Any regular fucking marriage and the husband gets caught cheating on his wife, and if he's not a rich bazillionaire or what have you, exaggeration, if he's not super stinking rich, usually he's divorced and half his shit is taken regardless. So, yeah. But you notice that rich men who get caught cheating on their significant other, the women in their life always stick around for as long as they can. They milk it for all it's worth. And they want to make it as, you know what I'm saying? That's what we call a gold digger. And if you don't believe me, you want to call me a sexist for saying it, go ahead and let me down in the comment section. I don't give a fuck. You know, now what Jeff Bezos did was disgusting. He should not have cheated on his wife. Like, I don't give a fuck how much money you have. Dude, if you have enough fucking money, you could fucking divorce your wife or break up with your girlfriend before you cheat on her. You know, that's a much more honorable thing to do. If you're thinking about hooking up with other people, you know what I'm saying? Save the bullshit for something else. You know, people do not have to be assholes, but they choose to be. Sounds like a fire truck going down the street. Don't be in a rush to date. That's the biggest mistake people make on the dating scene, is they're in a rush to find it. Take time to establish a good career before you consider dating. Now here's the thing about YouTube. You establish a good career, anything is possible. You know.
The best writers also read a lot. There has to be a lot of input coming into one end of the tube so interesting things can come out of the other end. Not only thoughts, but your words as well. And the best speakers are also writers. I put out the article. You saw this yesterday. I said, oh shit, wait till I can make sandwiches. And the article was, sex dolls are way better than real women. They don't care what I do to them. Creepy ass shit. Someone said,
Okay, there we go. There's the problem with our society. One of the problems. Okay, if you're the kind of sick bastard who gets those kind of dolls, wink wink, just to fucking be able to do whatever you want to them. You don't deserve to have a real girlfriend, because you're a creepy piece of shit, in my opinion. But there are some people who have mental disorders to the point where they're physically unable to have a relationship. They could be, good, kind, caring people, but, they could be like a person with Down syndrome, for instance. You know, what I'm saying? And I hate to go there, but, there were some people who are so mentally retarded that they're unable to have a physical relationship. So, you know what I'm saying? And these things create a therapy release for those who struggle with the dating scene. Now, if you're getting one because you live in hypothetical, let's say you live in a town of only 50 people, and most of them are men, and the women that are there are taken or not interested, are either taken or not interested. That's an exaggeration, of course, but, there's justifiable reasons for getting it. However, it should not be a first resort. If you're going to spend several thousands of dollars on something, you might as well spend it on an apartment or a house, a car, But
well, it's no different than a woman using a dildo.
That's exactly what I said. Double standards, man. Anytime a woman has a sex toy, well, it's just a woman and her needs. But if a man gets a sex toy, it's creepy and disgusting. That's the shit that pisses me off about life YouTube. Double standards. Men and women have the same urges. They're human. It's natural instinct. However, it's completely unfair. And you want another example of double standards. If a man says, well, I think a woman looks good in a tight red dress or what have you, he gets called a pig. Well, how dare you? You're disgusting. You're a typical male. But if a female says she likes dudes in tight jeans, nobody says shit. And that's one of the things that gets really irritating about not necessarily the dating scene, just life in general. Because that's just the hypocrisy of the sexes.
Yeah, but there's not a 5'10" muscular form attached to the dildo. It's just a pleasure device.
Oh, but they're coming. And that's kind of the joke that I made on my Men Are Being Replaced video. These women who complain about how disgusting female sex dolls were really just pissed off because it's one more thing to compete with. And now these same women who have a hard time getting dick can now have it whenever they want. They can be just as depraved and disgusting as men. You can treat your sex doll like shit, and it won't be a real man having feelings, Gender equality. That's what I'm all about, and it's about damn time. And here's the best part of it: they'll have the technology for the women out there who crave this sort of weird, disgusting thing, to where it never stops, never gets tired, never calls you fat and unattractive, never says, I hate your mother. But the one thing the sex bot cannot do is give you chocolates, hold the door for you in public. give you roses on Valentine's Day. That's one thing, you know what I'm saying? So some of you might be like, oh, this guy, that was too far. I was going to go to the hardware store yesterday, but I had a friend who needed some homey advice, so I did what I could. Went to another friend's house, had like 2 drinks, came home. Yeah. But today, there's no excuses. Yesterday, however, I managed to get all 10 of the wands carved out, but they're not sanded. The sanding won't take very long. I'm going to try something different, a little bit different with the wand batches this time around, and see how they sell. People might be looking at it going, okay, this looks interesting. This doesn't look like your typical wand batch. The only difference is I'll be adding copper handles instead of leather. See how it looks. I might charge more for it, but that's fair. But not too much more. $34 for a copper wrapped wand. Keep in mind that copper is an excellent conductant of energy. You know, as a man, when your masculinity is challenged, oh, wow, you poor bastard. Hear me out for a second. You try the best you can to provide for your woman, and of course, her best female friend has a man in her life that does better than you. So she's constantly comparing you to her female friend's boyfriend or husband. You know, and then women bitch because men will make comments like that too. See, that's just the thing of it is I've seen this from both sexes. And that's just the red pill lens, bud. I've seen men and women treat each other like shit, and there's a lack of mutual respect amongst the sexes. And if there wasn't, then you wouldn't see these angry, self-entitled feminazis going off on 20 different vlogs about how great it is being single. Right. Because if it was so great, you wouldn't need to write 20 articles about it. You only need to write one. And you wouldn't have these men going around saying the moving on their own movement, which is just a masculine way of saying what feminazis have been saying about men. I'm sick of their shit. I'm sick of their shit. If you ever hear those 5 words come out of a female or a male's mouth, usually they're talking about their bad children, someone in their family, or someone of the opposite sex, or someone they're dating. Or it could be, that could be a number of things. Now, there's a difference between feminism and feminazi. Feminazi will victimize herself and blame men for everything, which gives the feminist movement a bad name. And it makes women look bitchy and self-entitled and, you know, damsel in distress type thing. Which, don't get me wrong, some women like that concept of being the damsel in distress. And I don't mean that in a sexist way. I'm being serious, you know, being swooped off their feet by a charming young man. Oh yeah, chicks dig that shit. But It's one thing to wait for it patiently, and it's another thing to victimize yourself, to purposely make yourself out to be this, oh, poor me bullshit. Now, women who complain because they get judged for wearing a low cut t shirt, they get called a slut or a whore. Yeah, that's unfair, but guess what? I get called creepy for dressing goth, so, you know, join the club. Oh, it's not the same. Well, how is it not the same? You're being judged for what you wear, and the person doesn't even know you. Sounds about the same to me. Time and a place, YouTube. But this is a point I made on my last YouTube video, this rant video. Women try to show off their sex appeal and how sexy they are, and they get called names and they get judged for it. If men show off how muscular they are, you know, they're praised for it. And to be quite honest, I'm sick of that double standard. You know, it is what it is. I mean, you can't really change society's double standards. All you can do is bitch about them. I seen that Jeff Bezos got divorced, and I didn't know too much about it. It was just in the news. Him and his wife were splitting up. They didn't say why. And then come to find out, it's because he cheated on her. And I'm like, well. And now, if you had Jeff Bezos' money, you'd think to yourself, why the fuck not? I built an empire from the ground up. Why wouldn't I be able to get away with it? Yeah, even if you can't get away with it, you shouldn't do it. You know, if the relationship's too long distance, you know, or for some ungodly reason that you're unhappy with the relationship, just end it. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off a scab. Just end it. It's a new fucking year. If you're unhappy with the relationship you're in, end it. If that person doesn't support you, all they do is bring you down. You know, end it. Just that simple. And furthermore, we live in a society where, unfortunately, in some cases, women are paid less, and it's complete bullshit, YouTube. If you're working the same job and you have the same experience and you're both at the same work level, you know, it's one thing if, okay, that's a manager and you're just a worker. Managers always get paid more. That's how life goes.
I go along with it, and I'm not a sheep. I'm quite woke, but I'm also an American, and I enjoy my culture here very much.
You know, you can't spell culture without cult, am I right? You cannot spell culture without cult, just like you cannot spell healthcare without THC. I might have a spot of coffee left in that percolator. Hold on a second. You can't spell culture without cult, and you certainly can't spell healthcare without THC. Well, think about that, YouTube. That's brilliant. Not trying to sound like I'm Mr. Know-it-all here. And there's nothing wrong with being patriotic for your country, but think about it. The whole America, fuck yeah, you know. Yeah. It's like I said, you cannot spell culture without cult, you know. It's not hot. And quite frankly, I don't care. I'm not wasting coffee. I can always make another pot later. And a couple of cups of this will do it. Got a couple of bus tokens to take me to the hardware store so I can get what I need to make a batch of wands. I'm gonna collect more sticks. I have like 10 carved out. I might do like 12 to 19 and see how many sticks I can find. I don't want to make too much and I don't want to make too little. So I might just do 12 in this next batch. A baker's dozen. Yeah. If I can get that copper wire that's super easy to bend and breaks real easy just by... That'll make for a cool looking wand, I think. All you can do is try sometimes.
I don't enjoy the bullshit, but I do have a very, very strong BS filter in my life when it comes to people, news. Some of my favorite students to teach are Paul Mitchell Beauty Academy students. At those schools, they're called future professionals. They're not called students. When I teach those is Microsoft founder Bill Gates with 94 billion property law in a fairly similar financial circumstance that they both have assets and support after the divorce.
And this is the fucked up truth of it. If you've got money, you can make a chick stick around for all the bullshit. The only time she's truly gonna leave your ass, even if you do have money, is if you start getting physical. And you should never get physical with a woman. I don't care what she did, YouTube. As a man, I don't give a shit what she did. Put your fucking hands in your pocket and walk the fuck away. Yeah, as the expression goes, be the bigger man. You know what I'm saying? And, oh, but what if she hit you one time? Don't care. Walk the fuck away. I mean, it's a different story if she's got a knife to your throat or she's got a gun pointed to your fucking head and you're trying to save your life. Okay, that's fair. Most people at that point would be like, okay, your life was clearly in danger, so you were defending yourself. But this is why sometimes women have it better than men. You know, because I guarantee you, if society treated women like men, told them to suck it up, quit being a pussy. Quit crying about it. Quit showing emotion. I guarantee you. But the reason why one sex is allowed certain rights and another sex isn't, I don't know, it creates this bullshit imbalance. Now, there does need to be a yin and a yang effect, and that's why men and women coexist, but just because these double standards exist doesn't mean they should exist. You know? And it really depends on, again, the job you're in. Because some jobs tend to pay more than other jobs. I'm just saying the Snickers factory produced $200 billion globally in sales, which makes me think I might be in the wrong business. Just kidding. Which brings me to my next point. Sugar and caffeine are actually drugs. We tell our kids don't do drugs, but then you let them get all gacked out on sugar. Come on now. Now, some parents do not let their kids drink soda pop, and that's understandable, but you can't be a stifler, you know. I'm just saying, like, moderation is key. You know, and you don't want to be like all or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then it ain't gonna hurt. You know what I'm saying? People, when they blame obesity epidemic on junk food, what have you, what they fail to realize is that a little bit of junk food isn't gonna hurt you. It's when you do it in extreme amounts and then don't exercise on top of it. That's what does it. They're not very specific with the details. Now, another example of this would be you're told smoking is bad for you. Yes, it is, but an excessive amount, it speeds up. Yeah. That cherry pipe tobacco is swinging, man. Grab a pinch of cherry pipe tobacco and some coffee, and I saw the title of the video, and I'm like, okay, so we spent the whole video talking about a bunch of other things, and collectively it leads up to a fair point in the end, so it wasn't necessarily a bad video, but he basically went on to say that, oh, you know, I don't care what you do, where you stick your, you know what, stay the fuck away from me and my peeps. Right. Now, just because someone gets one of those disgusting things doesn't mean, you know, I think most people would have enough common sense to know that, okay, if people under a certain degree are headed your way and they have something like that laying around the house, hopefully they have enough common courtesy to put it up and store it safely. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the thing of it. Yeah, that is just the thing of it. Now, here's the thing of it. What if you lived in Alaska and a town of only like 20 people and it was colder than snot outside, below 40 degrees, bears everywhere. Oh my. It's a living. So sometimes it depends on the location. I may crack a lot of jokes about the shitty dating scene on Casper, but it's not that bad if you know what you're doing. You know. I've noticed, though it's weird, but I've noticed that women around town are like, that's a sexy looking goth. And I'm like, cool, I'm down with that. Hell yeah. Relationships are like a hot tub. You don't want to just jump in head first. Take your time and ease your way into it. People, that's just how it is, man. What happens when you get into a hot tub that's too hot and you're not used to it? Oh, you burn your feet. It sucks. You jump back out of the hot tub like, oh, geez, your skin's all red. That's, yeah. It's a metaphor. I'm not trying to be, There's a reason why men have to work for it and women don't. Women have a gift, men want it. Simple as that. That's a polite way of saying it, I suppose. Yeah. And men aren't thinking with the right head when it comes to that sort of issue. And that's the problem with it. Because not only do men and women communicate differently, but men and women also see sex completely different. And that's, what I'm saying? That's always going to create some issue. But being a bit more understanding, that's where it's at, man. Like 1 or 2 soda pops every now and then isn't gonna kill you, but if you're going through like 3 12-packs a day of soda pop and just sitting on your ass playing PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, what have you, and then you get fat and lazy, and then you blame the sugary drinks for causing your obesity. Here's your sign. That's kind of like the lady who spilled coffee on her lap in McDonald's. She should have had enough common sense to go, that's hot. Maybe I shouldn't stick it between my lap. Maybe I should get a fucking cup holder for my car so I could stick it there. And maybe McDonald's shouldn't have made their coffee that fucking hot and made the lids more secure. That's usually all it takes for a situation to happen. It's a contributing factor from 2 different sources. One to 2 sources, that's all it takes for a situation to occur. And the only time it happens with one source is if it's a misunderstanding. Dude, misunderstandings are the worst. People make these weird assumptions about you or about the situation, and then you're just like, But if you have this perception that people in life suck and society is shit, to a degree, yes, that is somewhat true. It really depends on the people you associate with. Fuck all the racism and all that bullshit. Are they good people? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm fucking saying? Like, I don't give a fuck what your life story is, dude. We've all got one. Every last one of us. But this is the problem with society. If men watch porn, they're just being a typical male. You know, if women do it, oh, that's not very ladylike. See, men are allowed to be gross and disgusting, but women are supposed to be proper. And, you know, it's like, dude, come on. Really? Trust and believe, women fart just as much as men do. Do not let society fool you. It's just harder for a woman because, you know, they expect you to be prim and proper. And, well, if you fart, that's not very ladylike. Like, dude, really? Farting is a human function. Farting is a human function. Get out of here with that crap. Well, it's not crap yet, but... You might hear people say things like, oh, it's hard being a woman or it's hard being a man. That's, you know, it's just sometimes it's hard being a person. That's just a fair assumption, I guess. Because it doesn't do you any good to compare sob stories YouTube. It really doesn't. You can sit here and say it's not easy being a woman. You can sit here and say it's not easy being... There's a list of... It's not easy. Those are the three... It's not easy. Yeah, okay, those three words followed by whatever fucking excuse you got. I can sit here and say it's not easy being autistic, but you know what? Someone else has it a lot worse, so what the fuck am I complaining about? I know people that are epileptic and legally blind. And they still get up one pant leg at a time, you know. And that's the thing of it too, is sometimes we could see someone else who's struggling a lot worse and it puts things into perspective. You could see someone else who's struggling a lot worse than you know, and it makes you more grateful for your shortcomings, for not being a lot worse. Yeah. I mean, case in point, I could bitch and complain because I haven't had a girlfriend in over a year. Or I could be grateful I'm not in a shitty relationship with someone who doesn't appreciate me. I believe the quote is from the song Rat, or the band Rat, the song Round and Round. Just give it time. If you're building an empire, it's got to start somewhere. You got to get a good foundation. Every house, every building starts off with a good foundation. A solid career is no different. And a house or building isn't going to be structurally sound if it doesn't have a solid foundation. And to be quite honest, a solid career is no different. Today's a new day to accomplish many great things. Go out there and make it happen, YouTube.